In the mid-1800s, a single man's vision of a heavenly kingdom plunged China into the bloodiest civil war in human history. It was a rebellion so vast and devastating that it claimed more lives than World War I, over 20 million souls. This was not just a war. It was a cataclysm that shattered families, toppled cities, and forever altered the destiny of a nation. Picture China in the year 1850, a vast empire under the rule of the Qing Dynasty. The country's southern provinces were seething with discontent. At the heart of this storm stood Hong Xiuquan, a failed scholar from Guangdong, who, after a series of visions, believed himself to be the younger brother of Jesus Christ. Hong was not content to languish in obscurity. Instead, he rallied followers with a promise of radical change. A new China, purified of corruption, where land would be shared among all people, women would stand equal with men, and the scourge of opium would be banished forever. His utopian dream swept through the countryside, igniting hope among the oppressed. But it would soon unleash a nightmare. What began as a small religious movement quickly swelled into a full-scale civil war. Hong's followers, known as the Taipings, drew support from peasants crushed by heavy taxes and brutal local officials. Their numbers skyrocketed, and in 1853, the Taiping army stormed and captured Nanjing, declaring it the capital of their heavenly kingdom. From this stronghold, the rebellion expanded in all directions, threatening the very heart of Qing authority. But victory came at a staggering cost. Entire provinces were transformed into battlefields. Armies numbering in the hundreds of thousands clashed in a relentless struggle for control. Towns and villages were razed. Crops were burned to deny them to the enemy. Famine and disease swept through the land, claiming lives with a silent cruelty that rivaled the horrors of war. Without modern sanitation or medical aid, epidemics flourished. Millions of ordinary people, farmers, traders, women, children, were forced to flee, carrying their possessions on their backs, searching for safety that was nowhere to be found. The violence was relentless. The Taiping forces, inspired by their messianic leader, imposed strict new laws wherever they conquered. Private property was abolished, temples were destroyed, and Confucian traditions were uprooted. But the Qing government was equally ruthless. Desperate to restore order, they recruited local militias, enlisted foreign advisors, and mobilized every resource at their disposal. The conflict dragged on for 14 years, with no end in sight and suffering on a scale the world had rarely seen. By 1864, the tide had turned. The Qing Dynasty, aided by foreign powers such as Britain and France, launched a massive counteroffensive. The Taiping capital at Nanjing was besieged and eventually fell in a storm of violence. The rebellion was crushed, but victory came at a terrible price. The consequences were staggering. China's population collapsed. More than 20 million people died, either in battle, from starvation, or from disease. Entire regions were depopulated, fields left fallow, and villages reduced to ashes. The loss was not only of life, but also of stability, culture, and hope. Survivors wandered the devastated landscape, searching for loved ones, shelter, and food. The Taiping Rebellion was not just a war. It was a wound that China never fully healed from. It exposed deep social inequalities, created conditions for further foreign exploitation, and left a scar on the nation's memory that still lingers today. The rebellion stands as a grim reminder of how ideology, faith, and desperation can combine to produce one of history's deadliest tragedies. The Taiping Rebellion shaped modern China in ways that are still felt today. History is not just about the past. It is the shadow that shapes our present. This is The History Alchemists, where we turn the past into gold. The Taiping Rebellion shaped modern China in ways that are still felt today. History is not just about the past. It is the shadow that shapes our present. This is The History Alchemists, where we turn the past into gold.